One thing I'll say about the backcountry is, and bugging out, and I did that video on bugging out recently and why it's largely implausible for a better part of the population. One thing I failed to mention was how deep you're going to go into the uncut bush, because bushwhacking through the uncut stuff is going to be potentially your saving grace in terms of distancing yourself from people. A lot of people who've never done backcountry hiking, and I mean hiking through, uncharted territory where there's no trail, where there is, maybe you're relying on an animal trail or something like that. But essentially it's bush that hasn't been walked through by man. Now, bush like that, especially the thicker stuff, you're lucky if you're moving a mile every few hours, I would say. With a heavy pack, with a 40-plus pound pack, depending on your fitness level, you're looking at potentially a mile a day. If you're factoring in, if there's a lot of slash and blow down and stuff like that getting in your way that you have to hike over, it could take you, half an hour just to walk a few meters. If you have to circumnavigate around down trees and shit like that. And if the brush is too thick, well, then you might be, hacking and slashing away to get through it with a machete or something like that. But the fact is, a lot of people bugging out are going to be afraid to deviate from the road more commonly taken. And there's that saying by Robert Frost, a road diverged in a narrow wood, and I chose the road less taken, and that made all the difference. Sometimes you're going to have to make your own path. Lots of those trails that are made by man only skirt the vastness of the untouched land, especially with crown land and national park land and stuff like that. A lot of the good stuff is way back in where there is no trails, where only helicopters go and stuff like that. So you may have to maneuver deep into the bush if you want some real security. Now, I would say if you could venture in 25 miles, and I'm talking 25 miles from any trail, that's basically putting a few days between you and any potential threat which may come down that trail. But you also need to remember, the further you go off a man-made path, the greater the chance that you might have an encounter with wildlife. And if you're not ready for that, then that could be problematic. So you're definitely going to want to have your personal protective equipment in place. Going to want to know, the terrain, the time of year, the breeding seasons and stuff like that, when animals are a bit more ornery. But, that could be a successful bug out if you're talking about, inching into the woods. By inching, I mean I never coming home into the woods. That's one possible way to secure yourself, because not many people are going to be able to venture in that far, because, for one, you risk getting lost. So, I mean, I don't advise anybody just go and do this. You're definitely going to want to, if you are going to attempt this, take all the precautions beforehand. Have a couple means of navigation, let people know where you're going, stuff like that, just to try it out. Just try and bushwhack a bit. And don't even bring a backpack. Just do it without a backpack. And then imagine a backpack after that. See, just to see, give yourself a sense of how hard it's going to be to do that, especially if you're in a stressful situation. It's not going to be easy, man. Bushwhacking is hard-ass work. Then you throw bugs in there on top of it. If it's raining and it's slippery, you're going to slip and crack your head, impale yourself on a stick or something like that, or those thorns, and oh man, it's bushwhacking ain't going to be easy. But there's a lot of places in Canada where excuse me, you can bushwhack your way to a secluded lake or something like that, which might be stocked with fish. You know, there's thousands upon thousands of secluded lakes in Canada that you could bushwhack your way to. And it'd be very hard for people to access by machine, any machine, quad or whatever. You would need some sort of flying machine. Quads, you know, they're good for trails, but that's about it. Good luck taking a quad through the back country, through the real back country. Maybe in the grasslands where you can just sort of, you know, where there's not any major obstacles. But anyways, a sled, yeah, it's a great way to trek through the bush in the winter with a lot of gear. I just got myself a larger one, actually. This one is about 75 cubic liters, I believe. It doesn't sound like a lot when you think of a 75 cubic liter backpack, but it is, because that's just the depth of it. You know, you could stack it up as high as you want. Of course, the higher you go, then the more you risk getting a tip over situation going on. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you. Let me know what you think, and share your insights about backcountry hiking. If you have any other tips, I think a lot of it is just experience and luck, to tell you the truth. But there may be some tricks of the trade that I don't know about, so feel free to share them with me. Thank you very much. Canadian Prepper out.
I got a crossbow on my fucking... As you can see, walking backwards, filming with a crossbow on your back is ill-advised.